مهمة في بيروت. فيلم وثائقي يمكن اختصاره بأنه يوم لبناني في حياة السفيرة الهولندية هستر سومسن ببلدنا لبنان.
Now we don't have a legitimate parliament, not a president, and also a council of ministers that is not meeting. And yet, Lebanon is still functioning, or at least lots of traffic, but people are still going to work. Yeah. مش معقول, like they say here, unbelievable. Yes.
الفيلم الصادر ب 12 حزيران 2016 بيبرز الحياة اللبنانية المعقدة من نواحيها المختلفة، وهو أشبه بعرض للأوضاع الاجتماعية والاقتصادية والأمنية والسياسية بلبنان.
ليه بدي أعزفك الملف؟ بنت أو صبي؟
الفيلم صورته السفيرة الهولندية هستر سومسن انطلاقا من إيمانها بأنه مهمتها كسفيرة ما بتقتصر على مدينة بيروت وحدها، فهي تحت عيون الكاميرا جالت على مناطق لبنانية مختلفة من شمال لجنوب، والتقت شخصيات وفعاليات سياسية مدنية وعسكرية ودينية عديدة حتى توقف عند حقيقة أوضاعها ومطالبها، وما يمكن لهولندا أنه تقدمه لبلد بيرزح تحت وطأة الصعوبات الاقتصادية والأمنية وتحت ضغط نزوح سوري لا يمكن للبنان استيعابه. مشوار على مدى ساعة و25 دقيقة من رافق فيه السفيرة سومسن ليلة الافتتاح الرسمي ب10 تشرين الأول ضمن مهرجان بيروت السينمائي بدورته ال16، ويمكن أيضا مشاهدة الفيلم عبر اليوتيوب.
Ik wou je sowieso nog eventjes bellen in verband met de Kamerbrief die uit is gegaan en waarin werd aangegeven dat er 120 miljoen extra beschikbaar komt voor opvang in de regio of de landen in de regio rondom Syrië.
110 miljoen.
110.
وبيبقى السؤال: هل نجحت المهمة في بيروت أم تبقى مستحيلة في بلد المستحيلات؟
السفيرة الهولندية ببيروت هي ضيفتي بهيدي الفقرة، بدي رحب فيها هستر سومسن. أهلا وسهلا.
شكرا. أهلا فيك.
You've been learning Arabic lately.
A bit. بعرف شوي. كم كلمة بس.
Why did you do this documentary? Did you want to be a movie star and you're stuck in the diplomat position?
Not really. Indeed, as you say, normally if you choose for the profession of being a diplomat, you're used to working behind the scenes and not so much in front of the scene. But we were approached by the two filmmakers, Dutch filmmakers, who wanted to do an item about an embassy because they wanted to show the Dutch people and the Dutch public what we do as ambassadors, but also with the whole team at the embassy. And they looked at several options, and in the end, they decided to pick our embassy in Beirut as the subject of the documentary.
Why did they choose Beirut?
I'm not sure, but I can imagine that, of course, also in the Netherlands, there's lots of discussion on what's happening in the region, what's happening in Syria, and how that affects both Lebanon, but also how it affects Europe. So from that perspective, it's an angle, I think, that the filmmaker thought the people in the Netherlands would be interested about. And also we are a relatively small embassy. So what you can see is how necessary it is for the Dutch diplomats to be functioning abroad, that you have good local staff. So also there you have a good reflection of on how we work as a team.
So did you decide about the topics you wanted to talk about, the visits that you want to do, or it was already scripted and decided from the Netherlands?
No, it was very clear that it should be about our work as an embassy and what our direct relations are within the Lebanese community. Personally, I would have loved to have been able to show a bit more about the beauty of Lebanon, which I enjoy very much when I go out hiking in the weekends, or you go down to Gemeza or Mar Michael in the weekends to have a nice lunch or dinner. But that's not really part of my daily job. So in that respect, it was limited to what we do as an embassy.
As a mission in Lebanon.
As a mission, with a mission also.
While introducing the film, you mentioned that it's a difficult mission in a complex country, and then you said the government is paralyzed and the country is overwhelmed with thousands of refugees. How can the Netherlands help in this political situation?
Yes, I think in several ways. Of course, there's a very practical way. In any country that would get an influx of refugees, which amounts to more than 30% of your population, needs help. It would be the same for Germany, for the Netherlands. In our case, for the Netherlands, it would mean that we would have like 7 million Germans coming into the Netherlands almost overnight. And in that respect, there's a lot of practical help that's needed. There's help needed for the refugees themselves, but definitely also for the communities that are hosting them. So the villages in the BK and in the Akkar and in the meantime all over Lebanon in that respect, who are hosting the refugees. And that help is something that we can provide through UN agencies, but also with Dutch expertise. There's, for instance, the Dutch Union of Municipalities. They're working together with some of the Lebanese municipalities to see how to handle these kind of things. But also, for instance, on the garbage problem, on what can you do as a municipality to make sure that you can collect it on time, you also have some revenue out of it, these kind of things. And then, of course, there's the political level, where I don't overestimate my own influence when it comes to the stalemate that is currently here, when it comes to the election of a president. But nevertheless, I do think it's important to keep on carrying that message that it's necessary to elect a president as soon as possible, and also very necessary to have the municipal elections on time, which took place, and the parliamentary elections next year.
So basically what you do, you're part of a European Union and a European policy, let's say foreign policy. So you work together with the team?
Yes.
Or do you work on your own as representative of the Netherlands?
It's both, but I think in a country like Lebanon, the interests of the European Union, the different countries of the European Union is very much aligned. We all want the same thing. We all want Lebanon to remain as stable as possible, and we all want Lebanon, for us, to be a good partner in the region, also from a commercial point of view. So in that respect, we operate really as a team with the different ambassadors of the different European Union countries. And also we meet regularly to keep each other updated on the different meetings that we have, and we have not scripted messages, but of course you think together on how we can support certain messages.
But it's more a policy that's, let's say, dictated or decided in the European Union that you have to implement in Lebanon when it comes to your work as a diplomat.
It's very much a two-way street, because of course there's maybe the bigger framework on how the diplomats in Brussels would see that we would have to implement the foreign policy of the European Union, and of course also in our capitals. But then again, we are here on the ground, so we are the ones who can feed actually into that policy and make sure that we do the right things.
So they listen to you once you're in Lebanon and you're the head of the mission. They listen to what you say when it comes to how things should go in Lebanon.
They listen to what we say, for sure. It's not certain that they will always do what we think that should be done. And in that respect, also in light with the discussions that I had with my own country, for a long time, if you're here on the ground, you see already from the beginning. I came here in 2013, but immediately it's clear that you cannot only support refugees, you should also support the Lebanese community and Lebanon as such. But that took some time before you can actually get that message across, at least in our capital, and I think that goes for some of the other countries as well. So it's an interaction, and also because, of course, there needs to be, at capital level, they make maybe another estimation, or they also have to make sure that Lebanon, that it's not the only, of course Lebanon is not the only crisis in the world. So there's other crises where also support is needed. So that balancing act, that decision making globally needs to be done back home.
I've been listening in the film that you made to three ladies.
Yes.
Three of you are Dutch, Sigrid Kaag, Angelina Eghurst, and yourself.
Yes.
And three of you represent somehow the European Union and its policies in Lebanon. Let's hear what you were talking about. It was a little bit informal in your house, I guess.
Yeah.
It was really interesting about the army and Hezbollah, and then we'll continue after that. I have many questions on that.
Okay.
Hoe die er heerste toen ik net kwam van het leger. Absoluut geen steun geven. Niet aan werken. Dat is allemaal veel. Er zit veel te veel risico in. Ook naar Hezbollah toe. En de lidstaten waren er helemaal niet klaar voor. Alleen dan op een gegeven moment wel het Verenigd Koninkrijk en Frankrijk. Maar dat nu zelfs Nederland steun geeft. Dat is echt enorm. Dat is een hele enorme vooruitgang. Dat wij steun geven aan het leger. De Europese Unie nota bene.
Dat is ook bijzonder.
Ja.
Ja. En dan het hele verhaal met Hezbollah is natuurlijk ook heel interessant geweest voor Europa. Daar kijk ik ook op terug met toch gemengde gevoelens in die zin. Opeens wordt er dan die military wing, die military tak wordt dan op de lijst van terroristenorganisaties gezet. Nou, dan ga je maar de ronde doen om dat uit te leggen. Ik had het er laatst nog met Hezbollah over. Dat moment dat je dan binnenkomt en zegt, nou, wij gaan jullie op de lijst zetten om die en die en die reden. Ja. En zien we wat je ermee doet. En dat we dus toch 2 uur destijds daarover gesproken hebben. Ja. En zeer amicaal. Ja. Maar uiteindelijk is het, dat is een realiteit waar je mee moet werken.
Mensen vragen ook heel vaak aan mij van, vind je het niet gek dat je niet met Hezbollah kan spreken? In de zin van, ze zitten natuurlijk ook in het parlement en in de regering en dat soort dingen. En dat is zo. Maar goed, dat is het kader waarbinnen ik opereer.
Absoluut. Wij kunnen wel blijven handhaven te zeggen dat we met iedereen, absoluut met iedereen in dialoog gaan. Want ik blijf steeds op de dialoog hameren. Hè? En dan zeggen de Amerikanen, ja, dialogue voor dialogue. Het is ook wel niet echt de formule itself. Maar er is altijd wel een doel.
Dat is altijd waar. Je moet investeren in contacten. Zeker als de regio zaken verschuiven. Ik sta natuurlijk weer aan de andere kant van het spectrum. Want wij praten met iedereen, tenzij ze op een veiligheidsraadsresolutie staan. Dus ik onthoud contacten met de militaire kant van Hezbollah en de politieke kant. En andere mensen daaromheen. En een van mijn interesse is ook juist om die contacten te verdiepen. En dialoog voor de dialoog. Er zijn genoeg politieke processen ter wereld die al heel lang op dialoog voor de dialoog draaien. Juist omdat afbreken veel kwalijker is.
Absoluut. Ja.
Dus ik denk dat het is maar hoe je het meet.
Ja. Maar uit jullie gesprekken met Hezbollah, wat voor indrukken krijgen jullie ten aanzien van hun visie voor Libanon? Hoe het eruit zou moeten zien?
Ik denk dat 1 ding belangrijk is voor Libanon. En als je het dan over een regional public good hebt, is dat die neutraliteit. Dat verhaal van wij blijven neutraal. Het moet niet een passieve neutraliteit zijn, het moet een actieve neutraliteit zijn. Nou ja, en dat is al waar Hezbollah zegt, daar doen we niet aan mee. Nee. Want we zijn gewoon bezig met onze oorlog elders. Ja. Dus dat is al 1 verhaal, en zo zijn er natuurlijk meer, maar dat
absoluut.
Weet je.
Het is een hele lineaire organisatie. Het enige wat de boel makkelijk maakt, je weet, ze zijn on message. Het is niet de diversiteit, het is niet de plumage, mijns inziens. En zeker niet als het om veiligheidszaken gaat.
Hester, I'm not sure I clearly understand the position when it comes to dealing with Hezbollah. I mean, I feel it's a bit unclear for the audience. What is it?
Yes, I think what you can clearly see here that, yes, it's 3 Dutch ladies, so that's great to have Dutch ladies, but we all do different things. We are all heading a mission, but it's different missions with different mandates. So you see
the UN, EU,
and the Netherlands. And what you see in the spectrum, and that's why the topic is also very interested, is that we all have a different position on what we can do and how we can interact with Hezbollah. For me, from the Dutch government, the indications and the instructions are very clear. I cannot talk to them at all. Of course, if I go into a village and we talk with the mayor, that's fine. But both on a political level and the military wing, I'm not supposed to be talking to them because we think they're a terroristic organization. That's based on our own information that we have and our own assessment. Then there's the European Union, which is a composition of the different member states. Some member states do also talk with the political wing. So the European Union has decided to see the organization in 2 different layers, 1 political wing and 1 military wing. The European Union, so Angelina, she is not allowed to talk with the military wing, but she is allowed to talk with the political wing.
Who is the military wing? Do you know?
I wouldn't know. And that of course is part of the debate.
I'm a journalist in Lebanon and I can't tell what's the difference or what's the fine line between the political wing and the military wing. Yes. And even Hezbollah, they say themselves, we don't have a military wing, we're 1 wing.
Yes. Well, from that perspective, that's something that we as the Netherlands agree on with Hezbollah. But within the European Union, there wasn't consensus to block the whole organization. So it's a little bit of an insight maybe in the difficult dilemmas that the European Union member states sometimes face when they want to come to a common policy. And this is then the outcome. It's a compromise, clearly. And then, of course, you have Sigrid Kaag, who is the head of the UN agencies here in Lebanon and the special coordinator for Lebanon. And the UN can talk to anybody, both politically and military, as long as they're not listed on a United Nations Security
Resolution.
Council list.
In a resolution,
In a
yes.
resolution, and
Yes.
a resolution is then a list.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So when it comes to you, if there's something that you need to deal with a minister,
Yes.
a minister that belongs to Hezbollah, you cannot deal with the ministry as an entity, as an institution?
Yes. So I can deal with the ministry, but not so much in interaction with the minister himself.
Okay, so you would tell him, send me your, I don't know, advisor that's not from Hezbollah?
The Director General would normally be the contact person then.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the policy when it comes to your country and the EU. And sometimes it must be confusing for you.
Well, that's the policy when it comes to my country, but Angelina and other European Union member states can talk to the ministers.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about the army? Is the Netherlands helping directly the Lebanese army right now?
Yes, we are.
Because
yes.
I heard also what I understood, that there was another policy when it comes to, like, I don't know, 2 years ago,
yes.
Angelina was saying that they were not supposed to deal with the army or to
yes.
give arms because it was high risk.
Yes.
That it can end up with Hezbollah members. That's
Yeah.
my understanding, or it's not accurate.
I think to an extent, indeed, at that time we didn't have as much information as we had now, and the risk there was always a fear that indeed, if you would support the army in one way or another, then maybe later on, doesn't have to be immediately, but later on maybe Hezbollah might benefit.
Okay.
That was the position of some of the member states, and also definitely from the European Union.
But that's so not consistent. I mean, it's the same position, the same thing in the country. Nothing has changed. You change your policy based on what? On that the army is right now fighting terrorism, or what do you think made the EU change their mind when it comes to the Lebanese army?
Well, I think at least, let me talk from the Dutch perspective very much, in the sense that you see how much the Lebanese army is under threat. We also did more research in how the Lebanese army is being appreciated by all the different parts of the population, and that it's really being considered as a factor of stability within Lebanon. And all these together provide one set of argument pro supporting the Lebanese armed forces. And then there is maybe a hint or indications, which are not proven, that there might be a crossover or spillover of some of the programs that you have. So then, of course, the question is also, how can you support it in a way that you make sure that there's no spillover? Now, let me also start, like, the Netherlands is definitely not the same as the United States, or when it comes to the UK, for instance, the way they can support the Lebanese armed forces in terms of material. So what we did is look at the capability development plan that was drafted by the Lebanese armed forces themselves, in which they also indicated that they wanted to have better capacity when it comes to civil-military relations, and we support the army when it comes to the protection of the green border, and to make sure that people who cross there, if they have documents, to be able to see the documents, whether they're fraudulent documents, and then also maybe to make sure that the connection is being made with other organizations who can dive into these fraudulent documents.
In numbers, what's the amount of the help?
Of our support for the army, or support
the support for the army?
Support for the army is around 4 million.
Euros?
4 million euros.
In material?
No, it's not material.
It's what?
It's capacity building.
Okay.
And capacity building meaning that, for instance, when it comes to the civil-military cooperation, there is exchange of experience. So Lebanese armed forces personnel have been going to the Netherlands, and also people from the Netherlands have been here in developing the doctrine. What does it mean? Because, of course, the Lebanese army is operating also within its own territory to keep things stable. But when, for instance, you have high tensions in Tripoli between Bab el-Tabain and Jabal Moshin, and the army has to go in, then afterwards some people might think not very positively about the army anymore. So it's very important to build those kind of relations, and also to make sure that even up front, before you have to do an operation, that you have proper contacts, and that you can get the support of the majority of the population.
Is this part of what we hear about, keeping Lebanon stable at these days, that the stability of Lebanon is important for the EU? And are you really implementing such policy as keeping Lebanon stable and tranquil these days?
Yes, well, first of all, I think it's remarkable how the Lebanese do it themselves, because of course there lies the stability or instability of the country. The way people are being received in the communities. In the documentary, there's also us talking with the mayor of Bar Elias, and if you then listen to the amount of refugees that are in his village and the number of people within the village itself, it's amazing that it still works. What we can do is to provide maybe some basics. So when there's a shortage of water, to make sure that the water well and the pump are functioning properly, and that there's a better water management system. When it comes to garbage, that there's enough possibility to actually get the garbage out of the street. And now, after the documentary, I think one step further, because this was made in 2015, one step further, focusing more on the economic opportunities for Lebanon, small and medium-sized enterprises. Also making sure that, if possible, agricultural produce here that cannot go any longer through the Syria route, but maybe there's a possibility for it to be
exported
to the EU.
Is this happening?
Not yet.
Because we have a crisis, apple crisis right now.
Yes, yeah, the apples are really difficult. We had people coming over to also to look like what would be the commodities, so the products that would really sell also.
The criteria.
Yeah, and the products that would sell in the European Union. And apples, I'm afraid there's an abundance of apples in that respect. Okay. But for instance, potatoes is a very likely product. Because in Lebanon, up in the Akkar, the harvest of the potatoes is already early, so that's like April, early May, and then we don't have any potatoes in the northern part of Europe. So that is itself,
a possibility.
There's a possibility, but then it should be the potatoes that the people eat in Europe. So we're working on a project with, for instance, the Lebanese Agricultural Research Institute and some of the foundations up north to see if we can develop that.
Okay. So we're going to speak more about your job, your mission in Lebanon after this break.
Thank you.